Okay, so tonight I want to talk about the cash reconciliation tab in my Reseller Genie. So this is a tab that is probably it's probably pretty confusing for a lot of people if you don't come from an accounting background. So I want to try and start at the basics and understanding the basics, and then that will help you to understand what you would use this for. Okay, so first basic concept is if you're running a business, it helps to know how much money, like actual money, the business has. Um, in the accounting world, sometimes a business can be showing profits, but actually not have any money. And that's because if a business, say, takes a bunch of loans out and they're profitable in their operations, but they're paying back all the money that they're making to the loans, the business could be in a really bad cash position. They wouldn't have a lot of money. So it's important to know how much cash you have because that allows you to make decisions about what things you can do with your business. Okay, so this is all about tracking that cash or money. In the accounting world, if someone says cash, it doesn't mean physical paper that you're holding. It just means money that your business holds. So this is tracking the cash, and the way that accountants will track the cash that you have is by using bank statements. So a bank statement, I've got a sample one pulled up here. Notice this is on faketools.com, so this isn't anyone's actual bank statement, but a bank statement gives you information about money within a bank account. So you're going to have on the bank statement an opening balance, a total amount of debits and credits, and a closing balance. So opening balance means at the beginning of a financial period, how much money was in the bank account. So this is for the period ending August 31, 2017. So they probably started on August 1st. Actually, yeah, down here we can see opening balance August 1st. This person had $75,864.87 in the bank. And then right here, the total amounts debited and credited, that means throughout the financial period, how much money went into and out of the account. And so if you take the opening balance and the net of these amounts, that'll give you the closing balance, right? So if I had, say, $500, I spent $500 and I earned $1,000, then that would be 500 minus 500 plus 1,000. That would give me a closing balance of 1,000. So that's all it is. It's just where you start, what happened during the period, and where you ended up. Okay, so this is the document that you would be looking at to track cash as an accountant. Throughout the month, when you make payments to vendors, when you receive money for services, you'll record that in your accounting system. And then at the end of the month, you get a bank statement from the bank and you make sure that you've got all the activity recorded and that your opening balance matches the bank statement and your closing balance matches the bank statement. Okay, so for a lot of resellers, your business looks a little bit different. Probably a lot of you don't actually have a separate business bank account. And so when you look at this, you'll be looking at your personal bank statement. So we made some modifications to kind of what a traditional bank reconciliation would look like. So going back to my Reseller Genie, on the left side of the screen is the cash activity section. So this is just whenever cash goes in or out. So remember, debits or credits on that bank statement, that's what this is recording, the actual detail that will that will sum to these amounts. Now, the difference for My Reseller Genie from like a traditional accounting system is we have two columns here. We have business activity and other activity. So that's assuming maybe you use your bank account for both your business and your personal. So business activity, that's when money goes into or out of your bank account related to the business. So if you go out and you buy inventory, that would be entered as business activity. If you get paid from Poshmark, that would be business activity. If you pay your personal mortgage, that would go into other activity because that's not related to your business cash. That doesn't affect your business cash. Okay, so what I'm going to do is enter from this bank statement into My Reseller Genie. All right, so the first thing is this opening balance here, $75,864.87. Since I don't have any detail for how I got to that number, I'm just going to enter that as an opening balance. So 75,864.87. I think that's what it was. 75,864.87. Yep. Okay. And that was on August 1st, 2020. Excuse me, 2017. Okay, but we have a rule since we only go back to 2019. Okay, so I'm going to say this was in 2020. All right. Description. So I'm going to say this is opening balance for August statement. All right. And I'll name my bank statement August 2020 spend. So over here, this is where you enter your bank statements. So for the first month, it's going to be August 2020 spend, but next month when I get a statement, it'll be September 2020 spend. And then after that, October 2020 spend, so on and so forth. So think of a naming convention that you want to use and just stick with it. But this one, I'm going to name August 2020 spend. We've got some activity here. I'll get to that in a second. Statement total. Where we're going to get that from is on the bank statement. Go to the closing balance. So $76,600.61. All right, so that's my statement total. Yep, that matches up. Okay. Now coming back to here, we have reconciled activity. And what that's doing is it's looking at all the activity over here that has this bank statement attached to it. And it's adding it up. And when this reconciled activity matches the statement total, it's going to say you're reconciled. Okay? Because that would mean that you've accounted for all the activity that occurred in your bank during the month. Okay, so now I'm going to start entering some activity from our fake bank statement. All right, so not a lot happened, fortunately. Just 3 lines. So first one, online bill payment, $3,500. So you'd enter a description for it, and I'm going to just fictionally say this was a payment to the warehouse for our rent. So that's money going out. It's going to be negative $3,500, and the date would be Same date it shows up on the bank statement, August 2nd. All right. Then after that, direct deposit, future shop. Hey, all right. So 834.05. And I'll say that this was personal. We'll say it was a direct deposit payment to babysitter. And that occurred on the 20th. All right. And then it looks like they're not giving us the detail for this amount credited. Typically on a bank statement, you see this is page 1 of 3. On a bank statement, they'll typically have electronic activity and check activity broken apart. So maybe these the amounts that make this up were all checks. But I'm going to go ahead and enter it in. 8,925.69. And that was on August 31st, we'll say. This was, we'll say a deposit from PayPal account. All right, and let me make sure that amount lines up with what I think it's supposed to be, 8,925.69. Oh, and notice since these are the credits, they go in as positives because that's money coming into your bank account. All right. Okay, so I just noticed that the total of these numbers, the 3,500 and 834.05, it doesn't match the total for the amount debited. So I realize there's another amount somewhere. Remember what I was saying about the credits? Sometimes you'll have 2 different sections, and one will be for like electronic transactions and the other will be for check transactions. I'm going to assume the rest of what was debited is in the check total. So 81, 89, 95, 81, 89, 95. And this would be a negative amount. And I'm going to just subtract those 2 numbers. That should get me where I'm supposed to be. Okay, good. Okay, and that was money going out. So, you know, we'll actually, whoops. I'll actually put this in as personal. You have a massive mortgage. Okay. Yeah, so the principle here, it all goes back to the bank statement. You have an opening balance of what's in the bank account. You have activity that goes on throughout the month, and then you have a closing balance. And so this gives you a way to make sure you've recorded all the numbers that have gone into and out of your bank account so you know how much money your business has. Anything related to your business goes into the business activity column. Anything related to personal or maybe a different business or whatever goes into this column. If you have a business bank account, it should only be business activity and you can just ignore other activity. But You can enter this throughout the month, and then when you get a bank statement, put the statement total and a name for the bank statement over here, assign all of these to the bank statement, and make sure your totals match up. So now I'm going to jump over to show you just where this shows up on the numeric overview tab. Let me change my first period to August. Okay, and you see here we've got a cash balance of $81,290.56. And where it's getting that number from is all of your business activity. So all your business activity should be the cash that your business owns. So in this case, you have more business cash than actual cash in the bank, which means that you owe your business money. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I know this can be a tricky topic, especially if you don't come from an accounting background, but just remember, it goes back to the fundamentals of you're trying to figure out how much money your business owns. You're determining that by looking at your bank statement. And as you go throughout the month and you enter cash going into and out of your account, you can just double check you've got it all by looking at the bank statement. All right, if you have any questions on this video or you want to get some further clarification, just let us know. We're happy to help. And yeah, that's it.